What is up, brothers? So I read this book. It was pretty good, and I want to talk about it because I have lots of feelings and lots of thoughts. So this is a book review of They Were Roommates. And They Were Roommates by Paige Powers. So I literally just picked this book up on a whim. I saw it at the library and I was like, wow, the cover is pretty. Let's read it. It's gonna be a good story. Like, I'm not big on romance books or anything, but this is so romantic. Look at the back of it. Little hearts everywhere. But the art was pretty, so I was like, okay, I might as well read it. But it was so much fun to read. It was such a fun, light, entertaining type situation. I don't know who's yelling downstairs. But it was really good. So it follows Charlie Von Herving Prince. He has a crazy last name, and Jasper Grimes. And so the story goes like this. There's this big fancy high school academy type situation called St. Valentine, right? And then Charlie here, well, when he was like a kid. Oh, spoilers, by the way. I forgot to say. Yeah, when he was a kid, he was like, let me go to this summer camp type situation for like poets, and Jasper was there too. And Jasper's like the principal's nephew, so he's got like nepotism already, and so he's a famous poet. And so they were kids and they were at the summer camp. But the thing is, Charlie is transgender, so like detransitioned. He was at the summer camp and they were like a thing, kind of. But then he discovers that Jasper was like writing love letters to other girls while he was at the summer camp. So he's like, man, my heart is broken. Flash forward a year, this guy's doing online school while he's getting his gender crisis under control. And he decides, you know what? I'm going to go to St. Valentine and just go there. You know, it's an all-boys school. So he's like, okay, let's do that. And his mom is like obviously skeptical about it, being like, oh, be careful. And his mom also went there. But he's an excellent scholar, which means he has to get into the top five rank of grades to stay there, to keep his scholarship, right? He pays for a single room, of course, because he can't let his secret get out, because he's like, oh, this conservative place is going to kick me out. But then he gets there and he's like, yo, I paid for a single room. Why do I have a roommate? Bum, bum, bum. Hence the title. And they were roommates. This freak is his roommate. But this freak doesn't recognize him from the summer camp when they were kids. So he's like, my secret's going to be out. Oh no, he's going to recognize me. And this guy's like, man, this guy is pretty cool. And so there's a whole conflict happening here. But at St. Valentine, plot point, at St. Valentine, it's an all-boys school, right? And so these guys are feeling a little romantical. So what they do is they have like a secret study program where they send letters to the sister academy to like keep in touch with their girlfriends or whatever. And he's the head guy of that because he writes their love letters for them because he's a famous poet, right? And so they strike up a deal. He's like, yo, help me write these love letters for STRIP, which is, it's like an acronym for something, I forget. It was like Standard Tutoring Excellence, because it's disguised as a tutoring program. All the excellent scholars write little love letters to the sister academy. He's like, you pretend to be a tutor for this tutoring program so nobody gets suspicious, and also help me write love letters, and I'll make my principal aunt get you a single room. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll do that, whatever. And so they strike up their little deal. But the thing is, Charlie, since he got his heart broken at camp because of this little freaky deaky over here, he's like, love doesn't exist. I can't write love letters. That sucks. And so Jasper, being the genius he is, comes up with the idea. And he's like, let me be your love tutor. Excuse me? Jasper? What do you mean love tutor? And so as bros, he tutors him on how to like be vulnerable and love people. And they fall in love. Crazy plot twist. Oh my god. And so that happens throughout the course of the book. And I will mention, Charlie has a friend, Delilah. She comes up later in my later analysis. She goes to the sister school and she's also very important to the plot, but like kind of ish. Okay, now we're gonna jump into my thoughts about the book. because I have a couple of those. Starting with the positives. So I started this book because, well, I was reading The Road by Cormac McCarthy, and it was just too depressing. And so I was just like, I can't do this right now. I need like a light, fun, easy book to read. And so I picked this one up because I was like, it's going to be light and fun and easy. And it was. Like, the way Paige Powers writes is just so warm and comforting. I don't know how to explain it. Look at the map, by the way. Oh my god. Like, you can just tell that Paige Powers knows what he's doing, and you can tell that he's very intelligent, because despite it being like a lighthearted, fun book, like, there's no like crazy verbs. There's no crazy dialect, and it's not like the deepest, most complicated, convoluted plot. You could just tell he knows what he's doing just because of the way he builds scenes and structures, and like how he like does the characters and portrays them. Like, Charlie is a very realistic character, and I'll get into that in a second. Like, I'll get into the characters, but right now I want to talk about how it's so dark academia without any of like the toxic undertones of dark academia, because Charlie struggles, as you should, in this like very prestigious place. He's like, everybody here is better than me, they have a leg up, all that stuff. Like, he thinks all that, and also he's transgender, so like he's like, I'm at an all boys academy, they're gonna kick me out if they find out. And so he's dealing with all of this, and it like takes a toll on his physical health, his mental health. But slowly he learns that everybody else feels the same way. And that's just such a real and like comforting feeling, because tell me you've never felt that way in like a real life situation where, oh, everybody around me is like going. They got their life together, they know what they're doing. But they actually don't. Everybody feels that way. And also, he learns that some people, like, their families have so much money than him, because Charlie's mother owns a bookshop, and his father is in the picture. And so they struggle a lot with money, and that's why he's an excellent scholar, and that's why he's so stressed out about it. Some people just are born with a leg up, like Jasper. He has privileges, because he's the nephew of the principal. And it just, like, it reminded me why I love reading so much, because it was just that pure, sweet, innocent, dark academia, relatable type situation. You know, there was books and poetry and all that stuff, and it was just so cute. Because, you know, it reminded me why I love like learning and literature, and it just felt like a love letter to like not only like the queer community, but also like literature itself. Like, the chapter names, there's like Crime and Punishment, Persuasion, like Paradise Lost, Pride and Prejudice, Great Expectations. Like, the chapter names are classic book titles. And I love the way, when he's in English class, I love the way it's described, because it's just like, you can tell Paige Powers loves English, and you can tell. And it's just so cute, you know? Okay, next, I want to talk about the characters. First of all, the cover is so beautiful. Like, it portrays them so perfectly and accurately. Look at it. Look at it. It's Jasper and Charlie, bro. That's, like, exactly how they're described. Except the school uniform is plaid, and I'm so glad the plaid was scrapped for the cover. Because, like, I could not picture that. Plaid, red and black plaid? Buddy, no. So, like, this is so much better. Talking about Jasper. Let's talk about Jasper. So Jasper throughout the whole book is really like flamboyant and flambunctious. That's not a word. But the thing is, it never feels like completely 100% real. Like, it feels like a show. Like, it feels like staged. And like, we see a little bit like glimpses of him, because he lives with Charlie, right? They're roommates. We see glimpses of him just like chill out and be vulnerable. And so, like, of course, these things are going to clash. He's supposed to be like this big top golden boy. He's supposed to be like he's the principal's nephew. He's this like famous poet. Of course he's going to think all that. But nobody at St. Valentine likes him. like they all just kind of tolerate him or are jealous of him because he has so much power. And so obviously, since he's perceived that way throughout the entire book, throughout his entire life, he's gonna adopt this personality that reinforces it. You know what I'm saying? But he's not actually like that. He's a lot different. He's more sensitive. I'd say he's more sensitive. He just like blocks that part out to fit into the mold of who he's supposed to be. And so I thought that was also cool. Because while their like relationship builds and they start talking more, he's like, this guy is so annoying, I can't stand him. But then slowly he's like, wait a minute, there's something deeper in the surface. And only then do they actually truly understand each other. Is that when they actually, you know, they get to, you know. So yeah. Also, the character dialogue is so funny. I didn't mention this, but this book is so funny. It's so witty. Like, I love the dry humor. It's just, it made me giggle so much. Like, I'm hyping it up like crazy, but like I feel like my sense of humor and Paige Power's sense of humor really lines up. There's this line where he's freaking out because he's finding him attractive, and he's like, I'm not supposed to do that because like that's gonna be a disaster. And he's like, it's nothing. We're just a couple of bros being victimized by biology. And I was like, oh my god, that's so hilarious. Being victimized by biology? Like, that's, how do you come up with that? As much as I've hyped this book up and said, like, oh, it was so good, there are some flaws. It's not perfect. The girl Delilah, who goes to the Sisters Academy, who's Charlie's friend, there was this whole conflict in the middle of the book while he was having, like, an anxiety attack and, like, struggling to do everything and anything. And she was just, like, he was ranting to her on the phone. And then he was like, man, it's been so awkward between us. Why have you been ignoring me, blah, blah, blah. And then she said something. I don't remember how the interaction went, but the whole conflict was that he was so wrapped up in his own stuff that he never really realized or understood or asked about her situation going on. And so that was a whole thing, and it was really awkward between them for a long time, but it never was resolved in the end. And what? It was like he was asking her to do this thing for Strip, but she hated Strip because like her ex-boyfriend used to always just send her letters through it. But then she decided to help them with Strip anyways just because she didn't like the rules without Charlie ever apologizing. Well, I think he did apologize. But it was such a small thing that I like don't even remember it. And so she helps them with Strip at the very end. And then she gets with her ex-boyfriend just like on the sidelines. I don't know. It was really weird and it didn't feel as cohesive as the rest of the book. Like, we definitely needed some more time on her to figure out that relationship, because I feel like at the end it was still awkward between them and they just kind of brushed it off. And there was never a full, hey, I never asked about you. That's my fault. I'm sorry. You know? But then the other thing, the whole resolution conflict of the book was how Charlie is kind of a people pleaser, right? He kind of, well, because he's kind of like molding into the perception of what, kind of like Jasper, honestly, of what other people want him to be and what other people expect him to. And he's the type of person to just like take everything on himself. And the whole realization of this book was like, hey, maybe I can be vulnerable and lean on people. But that completely contradicted the whole thing with Delilah, where he's like, I should ask about other people. I've been so wrapped up in my own stuff. So what's going on there? What's going on there? That was really only it. And like, if you're reading this just like for fun and not going into it, it's not that noticeable, but it was kind of weird to have him have that realization of like, oh, I should check up on my friends too. And then the whole thing at the end, then being like, Charlie, no, like, you work too hard, man. You need to talk about your emotions. That's what he's been doing. So in conclusion, this book was really good, and it was a really fun read, and it reminded me of why literature is just so much fun. And now that I've read it and I've finished it, I feel like reading other books is so much easier. And it just reminded me of like, stories are just fun. Like, they're just here to have fun. Like things like Song for the Wild Bill, or like Convenience Store by the Sea, or Before the Coffee Gets Cold, or When Haru Was Here. Just like fun stories. I call them junk food books. Junk food books not because they're bad or anything. Like, people spent so much time in these books, like publishing it, and so much love went into this story. But like, you can tell when so much love went into the story, and it's just a fun, relaxing, nice time consuming them. Like, it's just reading for the sake of reading a nice story. And I think that's the most important thing to remember. And you should read And They Were Roommates. And tell me your thoughts. The end. Bum, bum, bum.